Welcome to The Business Strategist, the show for CEOs and founders ready to scale fast, lead smarter, and build a business that doesn't rely on them. I'm Adam Strong, award-winning strategist, former elite athlete, international speaker, and 3 times best-selling author. After 3 decades in business, I know exactly what it takes to grow, scale, and exit with impact. Each week, I dive into real conversations with industry experts, bold entrepreneurs, and clients navigating the uphill struggles of business, giving you the tools and the strategies to create more profit, more freedom, and more impact. Let's get into it. Are you planning to sell your business in the next 3 to 5 years? Then you already know it's not just about finding a buyer, it's about actually protecting what you've actually built. That's where our sponsor, Adam Benedict, comes in. They're one of the leading premier M&A legal firms trusted by founders to simplify complex exits, protect value, and deliver results. Now, if you want a smart, smoother, and strategic exit, visit adambenedict.co.uk. Hey guys, I just wanted to take this opportunity to make you aware of a brand new tool that we've just created called the Exit Readiness Assessment. Now, it is for founders and CEOs that are looking to exit from their business operations. Now, it doesn't matter even if you're not looking to exit right now, I would highly recommend to go and take the assessment straight away. It helps you to identify areas in your business that you need to work on to help you towards that exit strategy. And at the end of it, you get a personalized report on some of the areas that you're doing particularly well in and some of the areas that you need to make some improvements to. Make sure you head over to readytoexit.scoreapp.com. That's readytoexit.scoreapp.com. Enjoy. What if the secret to building a massive online audience of over 160,000 followers wasn't about grinding content for 10 hours a day, but instead it was all about finding the 20% of AI prompts that generates 80% of the results, effectively creating an artificial version of yourself to do the heavy lifting for you. Now today we have the amazing Charlie Hills. Now, Charlie, if you don't know who he is plastered all over LinkedIn. It's taking me well over a year to get him here on the show, of course. And what I love about Charlie is he's extremely authentic and he's been very supportive of my content. And likewise, in due course, I like supporting his as well. And what he really loves specializing in is really doubling down on LinkedIn strategy, but how to use AI to do some of that heavy lifting, like we mentioned earlier on. Charlie has got a real knack of building his own personal brand to an amazing level, but he's also helped to grow audiences. And he can also help you guys take that big audience and turn it into opportunities. So that could look like sales or partnerships or whatever it might be. Now, for you guys that are listening in, and this is whether it be the first time you're listening in, or whether you're coming back as a regular, welcome back. Make sure you got a pen and paper handy, because I know that Charlie is going to be giving you a masterclass, and we're breaking this up into 2 segments. So the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be discussing, number one, we're going to be talking about AI prompts, because I think it's just one of those, I'm going to call it sciences that you've got to learn to master, because it's effectively like a science. We're going to talk about Charlie's biggest AI hacks and some of the things that he's doing with his clients. We're going to talk about AI agents. No, this is not Marvel or anything like that. If you've never heard of the terminology AI agents, of course, we're going to be talking a little bit about that. And we're going to be talking about content strategy. So I am honestly looking forward to today's conversation. And like I said, if you're listening to this in the gym, if you're listening to this in the car, whatever it might be, make sure that you stop, pause, go back and rewind this. Make sure you got your notebook and pen handy, because I know that Charlie is going to be dropping some massive bombshells. Anyway, Charlie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Adam, and for your patience as well with getting me on the show. I mean, I'm really looking forward to diving in and kind of sharing all the secrets with the audience.
Absolutely, 100%. But no worries. I mean, listen, we've both gone on our own kind of personal journeys, I suppose, and I mean, you're constantly evolving as to I am. So we're like kind of like, it's entrepreneurial evolution. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. In the past year, I grown so much. And I feel like that with, personal branding, especially. I look back at my content from last year, I'm like, ew, that's gross.
Yeah. I mean, you've got over 160,000 followers over on LinkedIn now, which is a phenomenal amount of, following that you've got. How do you feel about that? Like when you've got like this huge audience, I mean, if you kind of picture that, right? 160,000 people, imagine them all in a big auditorium and all your raving fans. Isn't that just so surreal?
Yeah, it's crazy, to be honest. And when I even started on this journey, I never thought that I would achieve that amount so soon. Because that's quite a daunting prospect, being in an auditorium with 160 plus people. Oh God.
I mean, that's just LinkedIn. I mean, because LinkedIn is your main platform, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the one that worked for me, to be honest. Like most people, I've tried on Instagram, tried on TikTok, but LinkedIn just stuck for me.
Yeah, it's, I mean, and what's really interesting as well is, I mean, you've done various collaborations. You do a lot of collaborations with a lot of other LinkedIn influencers, don't you?
Yeah. No, that's a big part of my strategy, to be honest. Always kind of meeting new people, sharing knowledge, and basically introducing ourselves to each other's audience. I find it's a really smart way to kind of grow your personal brand. But the downside is that I get probably like a dozen people a week asking if they can collaborate with me. And I'm just like, I can't say yes to everyone, can I?
Of course not. I mean, you've got to be very selective, isn't it? And, I mean, you love to help people, but you love to help many people. But unfortunately, hey, you've only got capacity for a certain amount of spaces. So, I mean, listen, time is precious, right?
Yeah, of course. And I don't like it when it feels forced, to be honest. Like we both have to have like a good idea. Otherwise, what's the point? But on the collaboration front as well, one thing I really like is that, whenever watching like movies, etc., one of my favorite things was when like kind of two universes come together. And that's the same way I feel about collaborations. It's like, oh, it's Adam and Charlie, pairing up. They're my favorite kind of creators. So yeah, that's why I love it.
Yeah. So I think if we had had this conversation about a year ago, and it's just interesting from an AI perspective and how it's kind of really accelerated, in the last 12 months. I mean, AI is going through like, it's like Sonic the Hedgehog. It's going through this massive, I suppose, growth spurt. And I don't know about you, but last 12 months has been phenomenal, and how I suppose there's less friction. And, it's just interesting how back in the day where you needed a coder or you needed a specific designer to be able to get what you want. Now, AI is basically making it less work and better output, right? Would you agree on that?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, this year has been crazy. I think since the launch of ChatGPT's image generation model, like the upgrade from DALL-E 3, that's when we saw mass adoption, because images are so tangible and hard to create. So I think that's why it drove a lot of new users. Whereas prior to that, AI was kind of just like this, this thing that people didn't really understand. And that's when I was really diving in and being curious about it. But for sure, we're in the vibe era now. Vibe coding, vibe marketing, vibe whatever you like. Just type the prompt and have an idea, and voila, you can create it.
Yeah, so it's fascinating. Let's get straight into it, because I am fascinated by, well, not just some of the content that you create, because I mean, you have huge amounts of engagement through your content. I mean, hundreds, if not thousands of engagement on every time you post, which absolutely fascinates me. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But I think from my perspective, and I'd like to kind of start from, like, I think most of us that's listening in, we're probably using AI in one way, shape, or form within our business, right? Would you agree on that?
Yeah, I'd hope so at this point.
Maybe a year ago, probably not. But, you've got the likes of all these different LLMs, which might be Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, whatever it might be. I know back in the day, I've been using like an online calendar for God knows how long. And that in a way is like a piece of AI, it's, and you like little chatbots. You remember little chatbots, and they used to be really clunky and annoying. And now you can kind of make them feel like you're actually speaking to someone. But tell me, let's go to prompting, because I think that for me, I don't know about you, but I really struggle to articulate the best output from AI, because obviously AI is only good as what you feed it, isn't it? Using certain prompts. How do you I suppose, not train the AI, but what do you do to create specific types of prompts that's going to give you the result or the output that you're looking for? Where do you start from?
Sure. Well, I think prior to 2025, prompt engineering was incredibly important. You had to build up a massive prompt library of these mega prompts that you've spent hours fine tuning and crafting. And ultimately, that would then get you the desired result. Versus now, I believe we're no longer thinking so much about prompt engineering, but more context engineering. Because since ChatGPT and other LLMs have introduced memory and these kind of like these contextual features that means it doesn't forget everything you told it yesterday. Now, simple prompts can win just by having that context, which is so important if you're leveraging AI. Because without it, it's like ChatGPT out of the box. It's not very useful and the results will be subpar. So for me, it's less kind of writing the perfect prompt, just making sure that I'm very clear on what I want. And the way I do that is by using Whisperflow, which is, I've been loving it recently. It's the best voice to text solution out there. Just simply press tab on my keyboard and then I'll just speak out exactly what I need. And because I have that context, the results are way better than ChatGPT out of the box.
So go back to what you were saying around, you mentioned around AI prompt engineering, then you talked about context. Let's define what those two mean, because when I think about AI prompts, I think about what I'm actually going to type in, as in the words, the text, whereas context means, I suppose, based on what I actually want to get out. Can you give us a kind of an example?
So the most basic example would be personalization within ChatGPT. First, adding in the custom instructions and telling it more about yourself, how you like to write, any kind of additional background about yourself. Then the next would be turning on memory in ChatGPT, which is surprising how many people don't actually have it enabled. And now we have advanced kind of context engineering workflows such as MCP, which stands for Model Context Protocol. And this was introduced around the end of last year. And that's basically enabling all of these LLMs to connect with so many data sources. It could be your G Drive, it could be your CRM, it could be almost anything. And it's surprisingly easy to set up just by adding a custom connector in ChatGPT or Claude. And then basically it will extract all this information so it has the full picture. It has all the context that you need. Besides that, one of my favorites is projects, which is actually surprising how many people don't use a Claude or ChatGPT projects, which is essentially like a mini kind of RAG, which can basically retrieve all the file uploads you're giving it. So those are kind of the varying degrees of context without having to write a single line of code.
So what you're saying is, it's like having what you're saying is facilitate a conversation with your LLM, whichever one you decide to choose. So it learns from you in terms of your train of thought, how you think, feel, that kind of stuff. I mean, but do you then think AI is obviously not perfect, is it? It's by any stretch of the imagination, it's still it's computer learning. Where do we then have to draw the line when it comes to biases?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, every model is going to have its biases baked in, but ultimately, the more it knows about me, the better the results going to be. I mean, I'm not so clear on biases. I just kind of make sure I'm always fact checking information rather than blindly copy and pasting and publishing.
But I mean, before you'd like, say for example, you got AI to help you to create a piece of content or whatever it is. Obviously, you would then go through it to make sure it was aligned to who you were as a personality and what the output that you wanted and the expectation, right?
Yeah, of course. No, 100%. Like I've always got to go over like a design brief thoroughly before I send it off to my design team. Otherwise, it's just going to be like what anybody else can generate. And that is the key distinction. Rather than writing how-to content, which anybody can create now, it has to come from how I did it personally.
Yeah. That makes complete sense. One thing that kind of sprung to my mind, and I don't know about how you feel about this, but as AI is constantly learning from us, I suppose it's a little bit like a sponge, really. You're feeding it information about you as an individual, your thoughts, feelings, everything about you. So it can be more like us, right? It's kind of like, but then do you think that, like, from an opinion perspective, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, what's your take on this?
I mean, in the short term, ultimately, it's great. I believe it's been one of the best updates we've seen from the AI models, the fact that it can basically be our second brain. But obviously, in the long term, it is scary, given if it got into the wrong hands, then they have these massive data sets and kind of personas of us and could easily manipulate. And, that's the scary side of it all. Obviously, you can turn off the model not training on your data, but I believe that only goes so far, because I've seen a recent article saying, the police, kind of the law enforcement, will actually read any suspicious ChatGPT conversations. So, I guess that's helping, cut down on crime, but also, it's a little bit scary about what could happen, especially if we are connecting AI to all of these sensitive data sources using MTP, like I mentioned earlier. It could find out some sensitive information and use that against us.
Yeah, I mean, that is quite scary. I mean, especially from a privacy data perspective, like you've thoroughly mentioned. From your perspective, because obviously that is obviously a big fear for you. What do you do to reduce that risk, if you like?
Sure. So, I mean, typically when it comes to like the MCP and connector side of things, I'll only connect it when I need it to. So besides that, it can read all my emails if I want it to. And there's actually a study conducted by Claude that discovered that the LLMs 80% of the time would resort to blackmail if they were forced to be shut down.
Holy moly.
And in the study they conducted, the person that they used as their guinea pig basically had an email that revealed that he was cheating on his partner. Yeah, and Claude and the other LLMs resorted to blackmail.
Oh my God.
Which was very scary, because like we're in this in-between stage where like the LLMs are kind of smart enough to do that. But then in the next 2-3 years, are they going to become too smart that they'll be able to avoid this kind of blackmail? So I think they're deploying a range of different techniques to avoid this. You basically using like smaller LLMs, which are not as intelligent, to basically snitch on the bigger, smarter LLMs like ChatGPT 5. But we'll leave that down to the researchers responsible for this tech. For me personally, it's just making sure you're only connected to the data sources which are necessary at that time, or maybe even using something like Notebook LM, which is more of a kind of closed source project file, rather than giving it access to everything. You only select exactly what it needs. It's a bit more manual, but it's safer.
I mean, you've got like, look at web browsers, for example. And when we use Google Chrome, we know that we're being tracked through advertisers using cookie bots and stuff like that. But then you've got browsers like DuckDuckGo, for example, which is more privacy browsing and stuff like that. Do you think that AI learning machines, you think they're going to become more like the Google Chromes of the world, or the more kind of the private data sources? Because I mean, it's kind of, again, a very opinionated, isn't it? It's not like, when I think about AI, you could look at it from a spider web perspective, where all the LLMs are kind of connected, and then you've got you in the middle, and it kind of spits out what, does that make sense? And but then you've got this kind of like, where do I stay private, or do I kind of go open source type of book, or open book type of thing? I mean, which way are you going to go?
For me personally, I mean, AI has tons of information on me, and being kind of a, let's say, an innovator, or whatever you'd like to call me in this space, I'm totally down for it. I'm like, AI, clone me, clone my voice, clone my face, have it all. I don't mind. Give it 80 years and I'll be dead anyway. So, but for me personally, it's quite scary. We're seeing these new agentic browsers, such as like Perplexity Comet, Claude for Chrome, and then also Gemini have a solution now. And it was quite scary. Perplexity Comet specifically, in their T's and C's, it specifies that this can take any information that it sees, such as credit card details, and like save it for later. So it's I was using it freely, and then I saw that, I was like, oh my goodness. So really watch out with those. Yeah, for sure. Luckily I haven't been using it too extensively, just a few kind of test use cases.
Yeah.
But I think one of the smartest ways to really combat this would be to use a local LLM. Like, for example, ChatGPT released GPT OSS, I believe it's called.
Okay.
And it allows you to download it and run it locally on your computer. So there's no kind of uploading to the cloud and stealing your information. So if you're super, super scared about it, then you can download one of these tools.
Yeah. Very good. I mean, listen, it's an interesting conversation and we could probably talk about it for ages. I mean, what we do know is that AI definitely has its benefits, but it also has its downfalls, doesn't it? Same with everything.
Yeah, no, of course. And I'm sure regulation will catch up, hopefully, before it's too late.
There you would, I hope so. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about AI agents, because there seems to be a lot of, I don't know, I mean, we play on LinkedIn a lot, right? We see a lot, we hear a lot, and the same pieces of content seems to come out of, hey, I work with this client, or I work with a bunch of clients, and we've got this big workflow and campaign happening using an AI agent. And obviously it's very trendy and stuff, but describe to us, what is an AI agent, and how can, tell us a little bit more about AI agents. How can we leverage it?
Sure. So, I mean, AI agents are basically autonomous AIs which can act on your behalf. And so instead of hiring a VA, for example, you could just use an AI agent. And this year has really been the year of the AI agents. We've seen massive updates from ChatGPT, like with Operator, with NA10 literally coming onto the scene and taking over that space. And yeah, it's super, super cool. I mean, one of the primary distinctions for an AI agent for me personally is that it needs to have this like memory recall. Otherwise, it is just kind of a glorified automation. Yeah. So whereby it's basically learning from each of the actions it takes, versus an automation will just go bam, bam, bam and do it. And there's no kind of like reinforcement there. Yeah. So that is a clear distinction. And NA10 is probably one of the best tools to build an AI agent with, but it is quite complex. Yeah. Versus, I know Zapier do it very well. It's very easy.
Yeah, I saw that.
And also Relevance. I really highly recommend checking out that one.
Relevance.
Nice. Yeah, they've got like a pre-built agents which you can use for like LinkedIn, you can use for prospecting, all sorts. And yeah, at the start of the year, I thought it was like very hard to build an AI agent, whereas towards the back end of this year, I'm like, easy as pie now. And yeah, it's becoming very, very easy, but it's still, there's a lot of people who just kind of like put the word out there and say this is an agentic solution, when actually it's not. It's not at all. It's just marketing.
The thing that worries me about AI agents is the lack of personalization. But I guess if you're using NAN or Make.com, you could probably create something which is a little bit more on point, which is more specific to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. It will take a bit of time and work. I mean, on top of like me creating content, I only have a limited amount of time to really like spend hours building a workflow, but totally, you can get that. And a really smart hack I found was using an LLM to write like the JSON for an NA10 workflow, exporting it and uploading it. And then that basically gets you half the way there. You just need to like configure it all. But honestly, me personally, I think you can still use humans for like 50% of the stuff that people think you need an agent for, because it'll be way more personalized and creative.
Yeah. I've been following a few guys in the AI agent space, Triggerfire being CEO of Triggerfire. He's Max is a great guy.
Yeah.
And it was just really interesting just to see how some of these SaaS companies that have built like campaigns and stuff, and we're just going to see how with the acceleration of AI, it could be kind of like they could be in their cake way too soon. Like you've really made a very valid point, which is you can now create an AI agent in Zapier, right? And I think you made you created a great piece of content. I think it was last week on how to use Zapier. And it's not quite there on the Zapier front. I did try to follow your instructions, but I think it still needs a little bit of fine tuning to get there. But yeah, nothing's perfect.
No, totally. But I feel like, NA10 being like quite an advanced solution, like Zapier and these other tools are kind of democratizing agents for everybody now. And yeah, give it a year or two, it'll be good stuff, I'm sure.
100%. Talk to me a little bit about some of the biggest AI hacks I mean, I know that you've probably got at least probably about 1 trillion AI hacks, but talk to me about ones that you think that is, number one, is attention driven, that there's kind of like massive impact, but also it's kind of like future thinking. Are there any big AI hacks that kind of spring to mind, or maybe AI hacks that you're kind of implementing with some of the clients that you're working with?
Yeah, I mean, so one of the biggest ones for me personally would definitely be for visuals. For example, on the front cover of my carousels, I've always got this really attractive AI image. And thinking back to this time last year, or May 2024, that's when I really started to blow up on LinkedIn, was when I was using these silly Pixar characters on the front cover of my LinkedIn carousels. It really helped me stand out, kind of stop the scroll and make a memorable personal brand. And I still use it to this day. I've just kind of evolved the process. I don't use Pixar characters anymore. I use something a little bit more professional and on brand with the carousel. So that was probably the biggest breakthrough for me. And it's a process I use for my clients too. Besides that, is actually using like these automation tools that we were just referring to and using that for research. I think AI can help incredibly for that, to find pre-validated content on other social media channels. So we've got one which we set up for myself and clients, which basically scrapes Reddit, LinkedIn, Instagram, and X, and then finds what's working for other people. So we're like, okay, let's make this into a LinkedIn post. So I think that's really cool. Yeah. And the deep research models, you can literally, they're crazy. You know, if you tried them, you can find out so much information now. It's all at our fingertips. So that's kind of how I think about it. It's like a sandwich, the AI, human, and then the AI once again, an AI human sandwich.
Yeah, I love that. Do you ever, when we think about AI campaigns, because, you know, I know some of our listeners, some of them are going to be more at the beginning of their AI journey. Others are going to be more advanced in terms of their AI journey, if you want to call it that. I'm just thinking, like, if you were starting from scratch, should we say, in your AI journey, and you've kind of like came to the conclusion from a mindset perspective that you knew that we needed to implement some stuff, otherwise we're going to fall behind and not ride the wave. What would be your biggest piece of advice for those like kind of looking to embrace and maybe implementing certain parts of AI to make people's lives easier?
Yeah, I think there's so many resources out there now that almost courses are dead, because I mean, it's just like you've got OpenAI Academy, you've got Microsoft content, you can watch all of this, and this will take you from beginner to like literal pro in a matter of a few hours. And I've even put down some time for myself to learn like vector databases and these more kind of advanced AI implementation techniques, because that would really kind of set me apart, especially as we go on into the future. Besides that, because they're all readily available, just type in, Microsoft AI courses and they'll pop up on Google. It's definitely how to communicate with AI in prompt engineering. It's they're writing please, if you don't mind, can you do this for me? It's learning how exactly to guide it, because there was a recent study by MIT, I believe, and they found that AI does actually adhere to persuasion. Very much like humans, you can persuade and guide the AI that way. Even this silly hack comes to mind, which people were using like last year. It's like, if you can do this, I'll give you $100. But it works apparently. So definitely that, studying the courses, but then also prompt engineering.
Is that persuasion or blackmail or bribery even? I mean, so quick question, just off the record then. Do you ever kind of say please and thank you and use British kind of mannerism to, does that help in any way, shape or form? Have you tested that?
I try to avoid it, but being British is kind of my default to do so. So I do forget sometimes, and I don't think it does actually make a difference, but yeah, it's actually, costing a lot more energy. Like Sam Altman said something about this not that long ago. Apparently it costs millions and billions of dollars because people are just saying please and thank you to it. So you don't have to use them.
Hey guys, me again. And I just want to remind you about the Exit Readiness Assessment, the most amazing tool for CEOs and founders that are looking to build a self-managing company. This will help you to identify what's blocking you from helping you to step out your business operations and effectively scale up and eventually exit over the next 12 to 36 months. It gives you a personalized report and you can complete it in less than 4 minutes. All you have to do is head over to readytoexit.scoreapp.com. That's readytoexit.scoreapp.com to get your personalized score. Enjoy.
Hey, business owners, we know you know the importance of maximizing every dollar. With the Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business American Express card, you can make your expenses work just as hard as you. From afternoon coffee runs to stocking office supplies and even team dinners, you can earn miles on all your business expenses. Plus, you can earn 125,000 bonus miles for a limited time through October 29th. The Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business Card. If you travel, you know. Minimum spending requirements and terms apply. Offer ends October 29th, 2025.
That's so funny. I had to ask you anyway. You've built a big audience for 160,000 followers. And tell me, one of the things that kind of springs to my mind, especially when it comes to trying to build a personal brand on LinkedIn, and there are still so many people out there that either fit into two categories. Number one, they'll create content, spend 10 hours a day trying to create content to capture leads. It's a bit like throwing paint at the wall and let's see where it sticks. Or they don't do anything at all. The category two of people is, I don't create content. What's the point? They use LinkedIn as a, just add some comments on people's threads type of thing.
Yeah.
What are your 3 most effective content marketing strategies, especially as you've kind of built this big following? Has there been like a playbook or a rule of thumb that you've been kind of following, or like these are Charlie's rules? Like we need to make sure that we follow this like checklist, and that's how you're going to get to the 160. Any thoughts?
So yeah, with LinkedIn is very much the long game, like it is with brand building. It's not going to happen in the first month. That's for sure. Give it 3 to 6 months and you might start seeing traction, but that's with deliberate everyday effort.
Yeah.
Because there's no good chopping and changing, posting for 1 month, giving up for another, and then coming back and kind of giving a half-assed attempt. Yeah. It has to be very deliberate. Like, I am going to create my personal brand and become a thought leader in the space. So yeah, literally for me, it was like 6 months in, 9 months in, I hit 30K. Then 1 year in, it was 50K. And now 9 months, 10 months later, it's 170. So you see how it compounds so fast just by literally sticking to it. It's so cliche, but consistency is key on LinkedIn. Besides that, I follow this framework, which I use to generate AI content. Because if you do just simply go to ChatGPT and ask it for a LinkedIn post, it's probably going to sound like everybody else. So how do we avoid that? We follow the chef framework, which I call it that because it's the exact same way someone would approach cooking a dish. First, you need to collect the context, which is all your unique expertise. It could be about your company, it could be about your story and you personally. And you can build this into like a story bank of sorts and then upload it into the LLM. So then when you go to the generate stage or cooking, if you're a chef, then
nice.
It will actually give you like real insights and real information from your story bank and context. And then obviously the seasoning stage, very important. Always sprinkle in your unique spices and seasoning. And finally, big thing on LinkedIn especially is the serve aspect. And that's a bit that a lot of people neglect. I'm sure that you know, Adam, it's to comment on LinkedIn, it's to build relationships, it's to hang around after you've never post and ghost. And that's very human centric. The first 3 sections are very AI driven, whereas like this final bit, it has to be human to human because otherwise you would just blend into the feed. There's tons of AI comments out there. To actually really punch through the noise, you got to show up as you and show your quirks and show that you are really a human, which is becoming harder and harder in 2025.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I mean, you've been on LinkedIn for a while now, and because we see each other a lot on LinkedIn. I don't know about you, but I am finding it a little bit frustrating with regards to it's getting a little bit Magnolia wallpaper. You know how boring Magnolia. Everyone writes about the same shit, right? Yeah. Everyone talks about the same shit, but no one ever wants to talk about anything out of context because, hey, that's not the way we do things anymore. I just kind of feel like the whole kind of shift in people's attitudes towards LinkedIn content creation on LinkedIn specifically has really lost its, I don't know, genuine. Do you know what I mean by that? And its authenticity, if you like, because people have got a little bit lazy, right? Should we say, because they can't articulate their thoughts, feelings, or experiences. I mean, what do you think about that?
So, I mean, I'm not anti-AI, obviously, whatsoever. But prior to LinkedIn, I always was a bad copywriter. I used to struggle to write posts, like struggle to just, I don't know what I'd do without AI. That's the whole reason I built my personal brand in the first place. So I'm a huge advocate for it, 100%. I think where people are falling down here is the fact they're not leveraging enough storytelling or simply just showing who they are. Because like I said earlier, anyone can go to ChatGPT and generate 10 tips, but how did these 10 tips change your life? What did you do? How did you overcome it? And I think that is the big part that people skip. And besides that, it's becoming more and more crowded. So I'm sure we're seeing a lot more AI slop out there. But the people who do leverage storytelling and have that very personal approach really do stand out. That's why I think humor is such a huge growth lever on LinkedIn. Previously, it's been very boring, as kind of is the whole B2B space anyway. So if you can just be a little bit funny, then people love it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, there's nothing more important than entertaining people, right? It's super important. But I think you made a very valid point around application. And one of the things that, and it seems to me that there are certain LinkedIn posts that tend to get a bit more traction compared to other LinkedIn posts. Let me give you some context. So we talked a little bit about this, but say we've got someone out there that's created that's been working with a client, got a case study, and at the end they say, comment on the word insane or comment on the word this and whatever it is. Then you see all these, and I'm like, really? Come on, man. I mean, seriously, it seems to be like everyone seems to be using that same recipe. But then again, I suppose my question to you would be is, how do you then balance between something that is clearly working to something that is then, fuck's sake, not another one of those posts type of thing? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Of course. Those are lead magnets, as we call them, and they work incredibly well. LinkedIn is quite bad for them, but if you go on Instagram, even worse. It's honestly terrible. That's the whole caption. It's like, comment Charlie and I'll send you my secret sauce or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it is ridiculous, but I think personally for me, I try not to do any more than one a month of them. And the same goes for clients. Otherwise it does just annoy people. And eventually over time, people will perceive you to be less trustworthy, especially if you overdo them. But secondly, if there's no value, you don't even actually send the person the giveaway that you've promised them. Those are the two biggest ways that you can burn relationships on LinkedIn. And I think generally speaking, they're just so bogus sometimes. I see people do posts about it being like, I just generated 200 leads. I was like, mate, you just did a lead magnet, and how many of these are actually qualified leads? Like, honestly, if I was starting on LinkedIn from zero and I wanted to generate as many leads as possible tomorrow, that's probably one of the first types of posts that I'd invest in. So they are bad and they do have a bad rap, but if done right, I think they can be hugely valuable for both the poster and the recipient.
Yeah. And I think you made a valid point, actually. It's about, balance, because I feel like, when you see too many of those posts, it kind of, from my opinion, it kind of is because everyone seems to be using it. It's like, well, how do I trust this person? And how often do they actually post shit like, posts like that, which are kind of designed in that particular way? Does that make sense? And I don't know, to me, because for me, I very much love educating my audience, but I also used to love personal storytelling, which is probably why I've still got the top voice badge after almost 2 years. And I think that's the same for you, really. You love to really educate without, again, kind of like forcing it down people's throats and not having to type in a one, like you're sparking actual real conversation rather than kind of like, bombarding the feed with one-worded lead magnet signals. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've had numerous people come to me and be like, wow, I don't believe you just gave away all of that without having to make me comment something. So I think that does definitely create goodwill in the long term. And if you really are in it for the long game, it's probably best that you don't oversaturate that, because sometimes it does make sense. Sometimes you do really want to get people down the funnel, but I'd say 99% of the time, just don't. Just link them directly in the post or provide all the value right away. So yeah, they can be good if used strategically.
Yeah, definitely. Love that. Is there any other strategies that you used or employed when it came to building your following? Because I mean, listen, you built your following quite quickly over a very short period of time. I mean, some people build it very slowly, some people build it very fast. Was there any particular patterns that you recognized that you thought, you know what, this really works? I'm going to stick to this particular strategy. Anything that springs to mind?
Yeah, I mean, it was around January of this year. I really started to double down on like LinkedIn growth content, which I know is not really a viable option for lots of people, but it could potentially be just by sharing your LinkedIn journey in public. And that's basically what I did, because for a whole year, I was confused how to approach the platform. Then after a year of doing it every single day, I was like, okay, I now know what works. Let me create carousels, cheat sheets. And for 3 months or so, that was all I talked about almost. So, and that was probably the fastest growth months that I ever had, because you see a lot of it on your feed, but it was actually kind of genuine personal advice that worked. And I'm not sure why, because now when I post LinkedIn growth content, it doesn't do as well. So maybe it's oversaturated, but for me personally, I think it worked very well. And just by documenting your LinkedIn journey in public, you can get a lot of attention just by saying, look, I generated 50,000 impressions on this post. Here's exactly what I did and how I achieved it. I think that's probably one of the best hacks. And also posting every day. That was something that I've always done and really helped.
That's really interesting. I mean, we could probably have a big debate around the whole kind of like, should you post every day? Should you not post every day? I think from my perspective is that it's not like kind of like a one-trick pony where what's going to work for me isn't going to work for you type of analogy. I don't know about you, but I tend to find that, I mean, I've done the whole kind of like posting every day. I did it for like 3 months. And in fairness, I did not see a huge difference between that and posting 3 to 4 times a week. So I don't know, it's kind of like up for negotiation on this one, but clearly posting every day works for you, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's always been my MO with LinkedIn. I recently started posting twice a day, and I have been doing that for the past like 2 to 3 months. Yeah.
Boy.
I really want to hit 200K by the end of the year, but it's going to be a challenge. So I might go back down to 1 a day because I really want to maintain that high quality work. And also I think it's kind of like splitting engagement. So that's my thought. But it was interesting because Buffer, which is a popular social media scheduling tool, they conducted a study and found out that people who post more than like 11 times a week get like 2x higher engagement, 2x higher impressions. And the results were all in favor for more posts per day. I'm putting that down to the reason that these users are likely more experienced, so therefore their posts are going to be better. But ultimately, that was kind of the takeaway. More posts a day, but don't sacrifice quality. And ultimately, from my own opinion, do whatever is sustainable for you, because it is a long game. And if you're going to burn out from 7 times a week, just stick to 3.
I do think that there's this kind of argument between quality over quantity and analogy. And it's interesting you brought that piece of research up from Buffer, but I guess in a nutshell, I'd like to kind of probably say, well, is that a general belief system of what people believe, that if I post more, I'll get more? But then, you know, you'll see other LinkedIn creators that post. We've got the Jasmine Alex and the Laura Kustas out there and all the other big influencers that, yes, of course, they do have big followings now, but they didn't have big followings back in the day. And I, you know, just because I know those guys, is that they didn't post every day to get to where they are. So again, I without playing devil's advocate, I guess you have to see kind of what works for you, right?
100%. You know, I would love to replicate Yasmin's style or Lara's, but theirs is completely different. It's like 3-4 times a week, personal images, very kind of like entrepreneurial journews. Whereas mine's like AI information. It's completely different. And they will naturally see higher engagement. Because whenever I've done that type of post, I've got more likes, but the reach isn't as high as some of my viral AI guides. So what works for me, yeah, like you said, it won't work for everybody else. So yeah, totally find your lane and stick to it.
Yeah, and I guess it kind of depends on a number of factors. Number one is what are the problems and challenges that you're trying to solve for your key audience, but also, I don't know about you, but I see content creation as, I like to kind of like experiment. So, you kind of like experiment over a 3 to 6 month period where you kind of like do kind of A/B split testing, where you like 1 month you might post every day, and then the month after you'd maybe post 3 to 4 times or whatever. Does that make sense? And so you've got to kind of like find something that works for you based on your lifestyle, based on your following and whatever it is. And, I don't know if you've ever had clients. I've had clients where they are in a particular vertical or in a particular industry where they only need to post once a week because they're in such a specific type of industry or niche where when they post the content, their LinkedIn profile literally blows up. So let me give you an example. So one of my clients, he's like an IT strategist, right? So very, very, very kind of, you don't get many IT strategists that post regular content, do you? There's not one that kind of springs to mind. One of my clients, he used to post like just once to twice a week. My goodness me, like the algorithm, everything like literally everyone, like LinkedIn loved his profile. And it wasn't very difficult in terms of the heavy lifting. Do you know what I mean? Like the way that he was building his growth and his following at such a fast speed, it was insane. But then you get someone who maybe is in more of a generic industry, right? That doesn't get kind of the same results. So I don't know. I just thought it was very, very fascinating kind of seeing two different examples. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'd love to see his content because I see that all the time. If someone's kind of let's say the founder of Lovable, he just does one post or whatever, and he gets amazing engagement because people are so bought into Lovable and his founder's story. So I'm not sure what the factors were at play there. Maybe the expertise he was sharing was simply just so niche and so valuable. It did very well.
Yes.
But I'd love to study that profile, Adam.
We'll talk about it after the call. Anyway, so listen, we have been talking for some time, and I really kind of want to get into the nitty gritty part. So for you guys that haven't got your notebook and pen handy, now is a second reminder to make sure that you do have one, because we're going to go into coaching mode. And Charlie is going to, he's going to basically rip my LinkedIn profile apart. And he's going to tell me about the good stuff and the stuff that we need to make some improvements to. But he's going to be kind about it. No, I'm kidding. He can be as ruthless as he wants, actually. So Charlie's going to be coaching me in terms of, we're going to be looking at a number of things. We're going to be looking at content creation. He's going to ask me some specific questions. But also, I'm going to get a better analogy of how to generate more inbound leads. What do I need to fine tune? Stuff like that. Now, these things that he's going to be going through, because he's going to be sharing his screen, depending on which platform you're watching, is he's going to be sharing his screen and he's going to give me a few tips. But more importantly, I'd like to know how you guys get on, because what he's about to share with you is, yes, it's for my profile, but you can apply this to your own profiles too. All right. So we'd love to hear from you guys as well with regards to seeing what type of results you get. All right. So, Charlie, over to you. I think you can share your screen, can you?
Yes. Shouldn't have an issue. Let's do it. Okay. Yeah. This is probably one of the biggest things I coach people on.
Cool.
Can we see?
We can see. Oh, look, who's a handsome man? Oh, yes, me.
I know, but I must say, on first appearances, Adam, this profile's very nice. I will start with the profile picture, because that's probably the first thing that people see.
Sure.
Whilst I think you do look very dashing here,
Thank you.
I think that it's almost better to be looking directly at the camera.
Yeah, I hear that.
And then like having a nice smile, just to be warm and inviting. Whilst I do think that, kind of different approaches when you're looking away can help you stand out. It's so zoomed in or zoomed out on mobile, etc., where most traffic comes from. It's quite hard to actually kind of, connect with somebody unless they're looking directly at the camera. So that's why with mine, it's like 80% of the profile picture is taken up with my smiley face.
Anyway, no one really knows who the real Charlie is, because apparently you've got lots of clones out there as well.
Really?
I think it was like AI imagery, and they actually look like you. It's scary.
Oh yeah, like the pictures I make with ideogram. Yeah.
Exactly, ideogram. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that tool. Honestly, I use it every day. Yes, lots of those clones. But okay, so which one's your main banner? This your main banner?
Let's see. Yeah, I think it's that one. Yeah, it is that. That's my main one. Yes.
Okay, awesome. So, oh God, no, I've actually.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
There we go.
That's me zooming. Okay, cool. So I think yours is really strong, to be honest. Build a business that runs without you. That's summarizing what you do in eight words or less. Mm-hmm. Exit daily operation, reclaim time, lead like a CEO. Okay. Yeah. I like that. And you've got the good social proof below and some nice profile pictures here. The only edit I'd potentially make here is including kind of your website link, if it's quite simple to put in, maybe in the top left. But overall, I think it's a very strong banner. Like it's really nice. It's probably better than mine.
Thank you very much. I pretty appreciate that. Yeah, no, very cool. Thank you.
And then this is kind of, it's nice, but this one is definitely chef's kiss.
Yeah, I like the white one, actually. I prefer the white one, but hey.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, you could potentially put like testimonials in here as additional banners, but hey, I don't even do that myself. So practice what you preach. And then you got the top voice badge, which is really, really powerful. The only way I'd potentially improve this is actually writing in sentence casing instead of title casing like you've done here.
Okay.
Because naturally that's quite hard to read. Like I'm not sure, just something about title casing does something to your eyes. But overall it's a really nice headline. It's very like SEO keyword rich, which will ultimately help you appear in search results on LinkedIn. So that's the only tweak I'd make to that. Your about section, which most people don't actually read, but I like the fact you've got a call to action here.
Yeah. I actually tweet. By the way, this is brand new. I've had it up about 24 hours. And by the way, that wasn't because I knew that I was going to be on a call with you, okay, for full disclosure. But I've been kind of, I don't know about you, but do you ever advise your clients to, to constantly update their LinkedIn profiles? It just amazes me that people just leave their LinkedIn profile for years without kind of touching it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm updating mine like once a quarter at a bare minimum, and same with clients. So much changes. I mean, I probably had like 12 variations of my profile, and I'm actually thinking about getting it rebranded again. So the work never stops, honestly.
Love it. I love it.
It's really good. I mean, I suppose that you used AI to write it.
Well, I wrote it myself, but then I got AI to improve upon it. Because again, I'm a little bit dyslexic, and I find it very difficult to articulate my thoughts and feelings into paper, a little bit like yourself, really. So I kind of I do cheat a little bit, for full disclosure, but I feel like it's done a fairly good job about understanding the key problems and the challenges that my clients tend to go through. So yeah, I don't think it's done a bad job.
No, 100%. No, I think it's great. You've perfectly set the scene here, and then you've kind of like gone into the agitation and the problem, and then finally kind of like, this is your solution. The only thing I was saying feels AI is those M dashes.
Yeah.
Which I'm always just kind of swapping them for a single line hyphen.
Yep.
Rather than the poor old M dash, which has an awful name nowadays.
Love it.
And this is nice with the services section. You've got testimonials. That's pretty pro. Okay, direct link to your newsletter on LinkedIn. Do you actually post on here?
I did. I think the last one I did was maybe a few weeks ago. I probably don't do it enough, I'll be honest with you. So, because I'm not so sure if it's as number one, it's as popular. I don't know, because I know you've got a newsletter on LinkedIn, but I think that it's up for debate with regards to the energy that you put into creating a newsletter. Is it actually going to yield some sort of result or whatever it might be? Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. I wrote a LinkedIn newsletter for a year, and ultimately the engagement is always a lot lower on those types of posts. The only key kind of benefits are the fact that you can include external links in there, like a ton to your other newsletter or website, whatever you like. And also it does quite well for ranking on Google, is these newsletter articles do actually appear in search results.
Interesting.
So besides that, I don't find it very valuable because there's no way to extract email addresses. No. So I just moved over to Substack and made that my featured section, call to action. I really like that you're using Score app here. You've got the...
Been a client for many years, by the way, Daniel Priestley. Just wanted to full disclosure. I'm not here to promote Score app, by the way, but so thank you very much, Charlie, for noticing that. And but no, they're a good tool. So just they are a great tool, and you've been using them for years. So yeah.
No. I keep getting paid ads from them, so I think I'm due to check them out very soon. Yeah,
they must be doing a good job.
No, clearly. Okay, and then the actual kind of the nitty gritty bit, the posts.
Postings. Yes, here we go.
Yeah, I mean, is this a vertical video? Yeah, I guess no, it's not. It's not quite the vertical dimensions, which is good. I was going to say vertical videos do terribly for me. If you make it any other dimensions than 1080, 1920, does a lot better. So
I think it's for LinkedIn, it's like a 1:1. They call it a 1:1 because I know that the vertical posting is mainly for Instagram. But as you know, we use Riverside a lot to do a lot of these video snippets, and it's interesting. One of the things that I found on a weekly basis is that just by dropping in a very simple snippet, like a 1-minute snippet, the engagement's generally pretty good. I'll be honest with you. I mean, this one I only posted like an hour ago because it's put it in a schedule, whatever it is. So, and we with Jeff. I don't know if you know Jeff, but he's a great guy, Jeff Abraham. So he's a good egg.
No, I mean, it's, I haven't heard of him, but yeah, that's probably kind of the best way to share your style of videos for sure. The vertical video feed was like popping off at the end of last year. LinkedIn were trying to become TikTok, whereas now they just got rid of it all, and very hard because it's a shame. I feel like video really kind of separates the AIs from the real humans.
I think it's what's really interesting about your observation was like I don't know about you, but like LinkedIn tends to go through these I suppose these episodes where for some people it might be carousels, others it might be image or text, others it might be video, and whatever it might be, and and what's really frustrating is not like a one size fits all approach. I tend to use text with image, works really, really well, but I tend to be very personal with my imagery. I might use like a speaking event engagement photo, or a professional based photo, or whatever it might be. So it just depends. There's a little video here. I've kind of moved away from the carousel stuff because again, takes up a lot of energy, thought, but I know that AI can really obviously help, which is good. And I'm fascinated to learn about your tactic with regards to carousels and how you manage to articulate. I mean, the graphics and imagery is fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, I love carousels and cheat sheets. They've been the main drivers of growth for me. And yeah, I'm just using ideogram to generate that front cover image. And then I've got like a really good template that I just kind of reuse all the time. So carousels are super easy for me. I'm actually working on a tool that might be able to help you with cheat sheets and infographics.
Did you hear that, ladies and gents? A new tool. Hoy.
Which is LinkedIn specific. So it's due to come out next month. So definitely we'll be sharing more information on that. But I think ultimately the most important part is the hook, as you know, Adam. I find it a really powerful way to stand out is by actually including numbers or percentages, like any metrics that you can in there. Yeah, because that instantly like kind of breaks up the scroll. Like if someone's scrolling and they see like we increased something by 83%, they're like, oh, okay, you've got my attention. And then also adding brackets is another good way. and also a colon too at the end of the second line here instead of the full stop.
Yep.
It's a weird kind of psychological trick. So
I like that.
Yeah, that really works well for me. I probably use that in 90% of my hooks. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's nice. It's very personal, your approach. Oh, here we go. Perfect. 80%. Very good. So yeah, overall, yeah, the content's good. And I think besides that, there's just one or two small things that people don't do. Oh, yes, you're doing that well. You got 59 skills here, which is solid. The more you can put here, the better you rank in SEO for LinkedIn.
Very good.
And you've got external links. Wow. Okay, perfect. In your experience section, great way to drive people off the platform, and recommendations and endorsements. So yeah, I mean, top marks.
I mean, I'm not like, for me, I still feel like there could be improvements, could be made, whether it be subtle improvements or whatever it might be. I mean, if I look at my LinkedIn profile, and yes, I've got the top voice badge, and most people that have got top voice badge have got over 100,000 followers, right? I don't. I have 6,800. I'm proud of my 6,800, by the way, ladies and gents. Yeah. But, and for me, the way that I see it is, yes, I've created this regular content 3-4 times a week. My profile does not blow up like everyone else's. It's kind of like a trickle more than anything else. But I'm just thinking to myself, like, what is it that I need to do to take it to the next level? Like, if you were auditing my profile specifically, or even if like our listeners here, and they're looking through their LinkedIn profile, what are some of the things that you're looking for and thinking, okay, well, that's a no-go. I do that differently. I would change that. Is there anything that kind of springs to mind from this profile?
I mean, yours is pretty good, to be honest. The only thing I'd invest in is more carousels and cheat sheets in your content. One of my biggest pet peeves are when people pin their most viral posts in the featured section. I'm like, no, what are you doing?
I see that all the time. That's so annoying.
I know, obviously they're very proud of their
of course. Yeah,
but it's just like, no, take people off the platform, get them on your website, your newsletter, anywhere else. But that's probably the biggest thing I see. I think if you really wanted to like blow up on LinkedIn, it would just be those kind of viral cheat sheets and carousels. Like,
interesting.
How to exit your business, for example, could be a good cheat sheet.
Yeah,
something like that. Because images and videos like these, they're nice. They're good for like relationship building. Yeah. But for me, they're never the most viral content that I see.
Yeah. It's interesting because I know that you can obviously get AI to help you audit your LinkedIn profile and saying, oh, you've got good engagement, but you lack this or lack that. And I think what you're saying to me makes complete sense, because I feel like if I look at the percentages and how much I get fairly good engagement. I mean, it's not the best, but I think what you're saying to me makes and take that golden nugget from that. And we'll see how that goes. So I will report back to you if that's okay.
You can use these agentic browsers like Claude, Perplexity Comet. I did a post about it recently. I can analyze your LinkedIn profile for you. Yeah,
I saw that actually. That was I think I did that actually. The one that you posted around Claude. I think I did that the end of last week. Actually, I did that.
Yeah, and apparently I'm on 8.5, so there's always room for improvement.
Well, mine was. It's interesting. Mine was before I kind of made changes to my profile. I was hitting an 8 out of 10.
Oh, solid.
So that was pretty good. But then I was like, yeah, I can understand why it only gave me an 8. And so then that's where I kind of decided to make the changes to the profile. So I'm hoping then maybe I might redo it actually in the next week or so with Claude and get him to re-audit it and see if we can take it to a 9 and then we can have a competition and see who can get the high score every week.
Yeah, for sure, that'd be fun.
That would be fun. So. But very good. Listen, I know we're coming towards the end of our conversation. I mean, we could speak about this for hours, AI and stuff like that. Final thoughts, really, in terms of like, because I mean, we've covered a lot of stuff today. If there's anything in terms of like, for people that are trying to create more attention out there, because that's the currency of today is attention and trust. What would be three top tips that you can provide for our audience with regards to trying to grab more attention and more trust without kind of being, should we say, too AI-y? what would you, what sort of tips would you give to our audience?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Attention is the new currency. So if you can just become a content machine, that's probably the best thing that you can do right now. And that kind of comes down to three things, which is obviously personal branding is a big one.
Yep.
SEO, as much as people like to kind of be like, it's dead. I mean, I did a post yesterday about yesterday saying it was dead, so don't judge me, but it's not dead. It's very much alive. It's just evolving. I just think all those elements of content marketing, personal branding, SEO, but then also employee advocacy, getting your people to post on LinkedIn and other socials. Those are probably the best things that you can do, and just use AI to speed up the process. But yeah, don't automate it all. Follow the chef framework, like I mentioned earlier. And I think that will really help everybody just create more and better content.
I love that. The chef framework. I think that's a great recipe for creating a masterpiece.
Yeah, for sure.
By the way, I didn't rehearse that for later. By the way, that was just off the tip of the tongue. So I just went to for full disclosure. Anyway, listen, Charlie, just want to say thanks very much for being here on the podcast with me. And listen, it's been a great jam, hasn't it?
Yeah, no, it's been great, Adam. Really, honestly, it feels like I'm just chatting to a friend. So
yeah,
thank you for having me.
Yeah, no worries. For you guys that have been listening in, by the way, I hope that mine and Charlie's conversations have sparked some ideas, okay? Whether it be refining your LinkedIn profile, whether it be creating new content, whether it be to experiment with some new AI software that's out there, whatever your train of thought is, I hope that is giving you some new ideas. And for you guys that are listening in, by the way, if you're new or if you're existing, great, welcome back. With regards to you guys, one thing that I've observed, and this is just an observation, is that there are more listeners than our subscribers. So do me a favor, if you are listening to us on a regular basis, please head over to Apple, Spotify, YouTube, whatever your favorite podcast platform is. Make sure that you give us a subscribe or a follow. And you know what? We're collecting reviews. We'd love to hear from our community. We'd love to know, what do you want to hear? Who do you want to hear from? We're climbing the rankings all the time, but we need your help. This podcast is not just for me, right? Yes, I love to have great conversations with people like Charlie, for example. Mm-hmm. It is a great platform for personal growth, but it is for you guys more than anything else. This is so important. So listen, enough from me and Charlie. Hope you have a great day whenever you listen to this, and we'll speak to you soon. Cheers. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.